to our viewers and listeners today. My name is Gabby and I'm your host. I am wearing a black velvety roll neck top, kind of trying to be in a festive spirit with a little gold necklace. I have long dark hair, I have brown skin, and I love to wear red lipstick as it makes me feel confident, it makes me feel good. And I have a very beige background, which is, I'm not a beige person, but my background is beige. But I have a nice pop of colour with the plant that is sitting behind me called Chaz. And I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest today, Lou, and you are going to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do in your background.
So, I'm Lou. I am a white, middle-aged, middle everything woman with a pale blue roll neck sweater to keep me warm on these cold days. I have my favourite colour sofa in the background, which is teal, and I have a Christmas tree just to my left. Probably your right, which has got also some teal baubles on, because we're recording this in the run up to Christmas.
We are. Let's hope I don't release this in June. No, I won't. It'll be released in January. But yeah, your home looks very cozy, and I also love the colour teal. So thank you so much for joining us. Now, we actually connected a while back, and I'd say we kind of connected around the accessibility. I don't want to necessarily call it an issue, because I don't think it should be an issue. It should just be a way of being that is just a fundamental part of our workplaces, our society, and our events. But can you tell me how you kind of got involved around accessibility and kind of what you've been doing within the Opstacles? And then maybe actually you want to share a little bit about what the Opstacles does first before moving on to that.
So the Opstacles started out of COVID. So many of us had to swivel, pivot, whatever you want to call it, within the events industry over the last few years. And the Opstacles is my pivot. And actually, I ended up focusing on the Opstacles rather than my previous pre-COVID business. The Opstacles is a learning community, and it's mainly focused around training, development, and kind of collaborating together to learn and increase our knowledge and understanding. So jump forward to accessibility. One of the areas that we have focused on in the Opstacles is, and we call them obstacles. We take an obstacle, we call it an obstacle because we're in ops, and we ask our community within the Opstacles to come up with solutions to a problem that we feel that our industry isn't addressing. Okay. So we've done some stuff around sustainability. We've done a bunch of stuff around trading fairly, so the procurement process within our industry. And the one that we started on about 6 months ago was around how do we create environments that are more accessible, more inclusive to more people, so that everybody can benefit, both event organisers, and more importantly, the people that do come to events. So that's how we started.
I mean, that's amazing what you do, and you have built a fabulous community, and obviously I see that the work that you're doing, and you know, and focusing on these, I love obstacles, I just love it. It's really important so we can address those problems and those challenges that we all collectively face. And it really should be a bit more about our attendees, our guests, even our clients when we deliver events. And I think sometimes we think a little bit too much in our own kind of lane and vein of what we feel is appropriate or what our needs are, and forget actually who we're kind of delivering events for. So I think it's fantastic that you look to explore this further. But you're doing something at the moment to kind of crowdsource what the kind of biggest accessibility challenges are within our industry and what people think we can do to kind of improve this. Can you tell us a little bit more about this project that you're working on at the Opstacles?
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully you can stick the link out on any text that comes with this. So kind of we've been doing this for about 6 months and having these conversations, and now of every conversation there has been light bulb moment of, if we did that, that would solve that. So we've been writing all of that down. So the first thing we did was put all of those suggestions into a website called Campsite, with a K, not with a C. And what that site allows you to do is put in a suggestion. It allows you to comment on the suggestion, and it allows you to uprate the suggestions that that you like the most, or that would be the most effective change. Because what we wanted to do is make sure that we don't just splurge out a checklist of things to think about. But if we were going to go to the C-suites of our industry and say, right, we want you all to make one change, this is the change you start with, because this change will affect the most people coming to your event sites. So, and we've been talking to people around mobility, medical incontinence, financial restrictions, aging population, auditory and visual, families with young children, pregnant women. We've been talking to so many different people that find events unwelcoming, which is a surprisingly huge amount of list of people.
Who are events welcoming for, I wonder?
So, and actually, a lot of the themes run the same for a lot of people. And so far, I mean, we've not finished yet. The thing that we need to do, and one of the reasons that I was so happy when you asked me to come on this, we need to get this campsite link. It's live. You can add to it at any point. We need to get it in front of more people that have more accessibility needs, so that we can make changes that are appropriate, are fair, are well thought through and well considered. But at the moment, the number one thing that's been uprated the most doesn't cost a thing.
I actually looked, and I think I've got it open somewhere here, but can you remind me what it is?
Information.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
Information. So for example, if you did a little video when your registration site or your entry point, or even in advance of the event, ideally, of right, here's the access route here, here's where you pick up a badge, or here's where you pay for a ticket, here's how you access into the event space, this is what the event space looks like. Plus the text information that will go alongside that in terms of toilets and all the other things that you might want to consider. That information will give more confidence to more people. And I don't, like I say, I'm nowhere close to an expert in any of this, but increasingly in all the conversations I've had, the one thing that's overridden everything else is that people have said, I know where my restrictions are, and I am the best person placed to know whether that event is or isn't going to be somewhere where I enjoy. The problem I have is that nobody tells me the information that will ever give me the confidence to make that decision.
Yes.
So if you give me the information, I will ascertain whether I am comfortable bringing my motorized wheelchair there, or if I will be comfortable and confident in that environment. And it's that information that's missing, or it's hidden so far into the joining instructions. It's like right at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. And even if it's like, this event will have transcription, this event will have BSL, you know, that sort of information as well. You're right, and that is free. That's just information that you have as an event organizer that you can share. And then, I mean, once they're, you know, it doesn't have to cost huge amounts. So there is event technology out there that once that person is inside the venue, they can find like where they, you know, where the disabled toilets are, where they're able to go and get food, where all the talks are taking place, how to get to those places, the easiest, quickest, safest routes. Obviously that's a cost, but definitely starting off with this information piece, as you said, it's free. It's free time, I guess. But
better if you can put on there the mobile number of somebody that can help.
A dedicated person. Why do we not have dedicated accessibility officers at events? Sorry.
because events, because of the size of a lot of events, you know, if you're accommodating 30,000 people, obviously there has to be process and systems that will suit the majority of people going to that event. But what we're not spending enough time at within events, in my opinion, is understanding those people that fall out of the processes. We need a system for them. So for example, when we got to the event site, went through all the training process, went through getting into the venue, not a problem, got to the actual doors of the event itself, and that's where we faced a problem. And this is nothing to do with that event specifically. Every event I've organised, I know that person would have experienced the same situation in every other event pretty much that I've done.
Yeah.
It's a common issue. But at that moment where we didn't fit into a system and we needed help, it was the getting help that was the barrier. So actually, if you'd have just got, right, well, I'll just give her a call, then or give him a call. And so having processes for those that fall out of a process. I mean, we're process people, so that should set our world on fire, having process the things that aren't processed, but or situations or people that fall outside of a process. So yes,
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And both of those are really, really good immediate tips that people could actually take away, organisers could take away from this conversation today, is supplying that information. It doesn't have to cost anything, and ensuring there's not a barrier to seeking help once people are at an event, and processes around that. So thank you for sharing.
I'll just say though, with that, I mean, sadly, I am aware that I felt the need to highlight that the top one thing doesn't cost any money. That doesn't mean that our industry shouldn't be spending some money.
Agreed.
And investing in ensuring that this huge portion of our society, 1/5 of our population, is welcome into events. And there is not one person who at some point is not going to be disabled in their life, whether through being older, getting older, or through a temporary operation or an injury. We aren't talking about a small percentage of our population here. So we need to invest. It is not only it is the right thing to do. And going back to, I think, one thing that I wanted to say a bit earlier, but I forgot to. In pandemic, I really noticed that events are like the punctuation of our world, and we really missed that during lockdown. We missed going to a concert. We missed going to meet somebody, to talk to somebody about something. They're the punctuation that separates our kind of day-to-day monotonous existence of what it might be, whether it's a wedding or a Christmas event or something. But it's more than that. I think fundamentally events have an opportunity to make social change, because in the events we communicate with the rest of the world. If you have a trade show that is in one particular aerospace or something like that, at that event you have the opportunity to show what you should be doing to a whole industry.
Exactly.
We have such a huge opportunity to drive social change.
Yeah,
we're not, and we need to.
Exactly. And I know there would have been lots of different organizations who have been involved in the planning of COP26, for example, but when the Israeli
minister
wasn't able to, I mean, if we'd had that training and we had that knowledge, that would have been, and a process, that's something that would have been flagged. And that just shows the influence that we have on other events, and then therefore the people who are engaging with those events and society as a whole. So thank you so much for flagging that. And I'm going to make sure, because it's such an important project, and it's very simple to take part. So I'm going to make sure I share the link in the notes, share it on our social media platforms as well, and really rally people to get involved. I mean, how long is this kind of tool voting system open for?
We're going to keep it going forever, because we should obviously a year from now it'll be out of date if we don't keep going. So there's three things that we're asking for. Number one, put in any ideas, because not all the ideas are in there yet. There's so many more ideas to come. So put in any ideas that you have. Comment on any ideas that are already in there, things that have worked, haven't worked for you, any understanding that you can provide for it, and then uprate the ones that would have the most effect on you. Now, we only want people to uprate if that change affects them. Don't just upgrade if you think it's a good idea.
That's kind of important.
Quite a good, quite an important point. You can only uprate, we ask you to only uprate if you are affected by by coming to events that aren't overly accessible, or not coming to events because they're not accessible, because it's about making sure that we don't make changes that aren't well considered and well thought through.
So this is
that's the ask.
So this is relevant for those who are not within the events industry, those who attend events as well, right? So what encourage large different communities, large amounts of communities to engage with this, to share.
Absolutely.
Right?
Definitely.
Okay.
So yes, from all sides. So the comments can come from all sides, the suggestions can come from all sides, but only uprate it if you've got that experience.
Got you. Lovely. Well, Lou, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed speaking with you today, and just, talking about our experiences around accessibility, our frustrations, what we can do better. But, at least we're starting to make a step. There's a lot of learning to do. And as you and I said amongst ourselves, like, we're continuously educating ourselves, but we need to start somewhere. And it's totally fine to kind of just jump into the unknown and start at the beginning, even if you don't have that enough knowledge, or you think you don't have enough knowledge to contribute. We need to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. One change a month.
One change
a month.
I like that. Well, that's a great note to leave.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Bye.